This is Brindlewood Bay, the Ninth Step, Part 5. We ended last session on some cliffhangers. The group that was here did theorize and pegged Marcus, right, as the killer, if I'm not mistaken. And it turns out that that was wrong. That in fact, Marcus was also killed by said killer, indeed posed in the Tinseltown room as the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz, echoing the death of Desmond Billingsley, incidentally, who was also strung up like a scarecrow. Big problem, and we'll get to it in a moment. Right now, we have to talk about Alice, who is in a basement somewhere, being approached by Corinne Waitley and Isaiah Langmore. Isaiah Langmore, Alice, you got a text message. This is how it went down, Alice, since you weren't here, Wes. You got a text message from someone claiming to be Trooper. And you left. You didn't recognize the number, but they were claiming to be Trooper, your dead partner. And it was Isaiah Langmore who grabbed you and took you to a basement somewhere, tied you up, and you're tied up and gagged presently in a basement. And then Isaiah Langmore went to the party in your place and kind of was like tormenting particularly Muriel. And so we pick up the scene with Alice tied to a chair, gagged, with just a little light bulb. And Corinne Waitley is coming downstairs while Isaiah is kind of proudly telling her what he did to grab you. And Corinne says, "Oh, Alice, you get to be my guest for a change. Isn't that something? I have so many things to talk to you about, but I think we'll start with the midwives of the fragrant void. You see, an ancestor of mine was very heavily involved in research related to other dimensions, other planes of existence. And he wrote of a place that exists in parallel with our world. He called it the Fragrant Void, a sort of protoplasmic spiritual realm, a place of creation, a place of powerful, iterative energy. And I have spent most of my life trying to follow up on his work. I have made an alliance with a group of people who believe this town, your charming little quaint burg, is a nexus, a place of power, a way of reaching the fragrant void and indeed calling forth things from it. I'm afraid I have to leave. Isaiah has one last bit of business, and he will be gone as well. But there are others. It's too bad you're not going to get a chance to warn the other murder mavens. And she turns and walks back up the stairs, and Isaiah approaches with, I think he's just got like a knife, a fish gutting knife. And what do you do?
Isaiah.
You're gagged.
I'm gagged. So you're
gagged. Are you gonna try
doing
to?
a lot of that.
Are you gonna try to convince him to let you talk?
Yeah, just doing like the like suggest, just like aiming down to
Yeah.
like let me say one thing before.
He goes for the gag, and he says, "You can scream out across the dark water as long as you want. Alice Ollinger, but the sea will make no reply. But he removes your gag, nevertheless.
When he removes the gag, Alice is gonna look at Isaiah Langmore with like deep puppy dog eyes. Is gonna say, I think Mrs. Whiteley told me something about that flowery butterfly group of yours. Something before when she was staying at my house, but you're gonna have to get closer, Isaiah. I'm weak.
What are you hoping to do if he gets closer?
I'm gonna bite the shit out of his hand or his neck.
Very good. I like it. Maybe he'll like drop the knife so you can like grab it, and cut yourself loose or something. I like that. Okay, this is going to be composure. Let me take a look at your conditions to see if any of them would apply. And I don't think so. Being watched now, I don't think that, no, I'll let you just roll with composure for now. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, actually, first, what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Oh, I'm afraid that he's not even going to buy it and just going to continue and just do the thing.
It's worse than that. I think he's going to then go target the rest of the murder mavens.
Good Lord. All right.
Composure.
I got a 8.
I think that you are going to be able to free yourself, but there's going to be a physical struggle once you get free, which will require another roll, unless you want to mark a crown, in which case you'll bump it up to 10.
I would love to put on a crown right
Very
now.
good. We'll come back to this scene. Well, Muriel, Doll, Rosemary, Marcus Greaves, and we did confirm it was Marcus Greaves, right? I always get him and Sam mixed up. Marcus Greaves is dead. Shattering your theory. What
I think we're all standing there in front of like with other, horrified onlookers, and just the three of us are just kind of like gaping openly at this grisly display. And Muriel just says, I think this puts a wrinkle in our theory, loves. Unless this is a really extravagant suicide, I think we bungled it.
Well, we have to have been close, right?
Surely there was something that we were close to. Oh my goodness. Wait, where's Dalrymple? He was here, wasn't he? Like
he was. And I'd be lying if I said he wasn't at least a little bit amused by this. He says, well, the murder mavens look like they maybe don't have the same meddlesome confidence.
Good one, Wyman. Really good one. Really drew that one out for a while, didn't you? You think of that one on the way over here?
Muriel, this is serious business. 2 people are dead.
Right.
At least we're trying, Dalrymple.
It took you a long bloody time to get here. That call was placed at least an hour ago.
He says, I'll have you know, I am presently celebrating my 40th anniversary tonight with my beautiful wife. And, well, it's not like we don't have murders all the time here.
You got married on Halloween?
You're married?
He just shakes his head. And he says, let's get a real investigation going now, shall we? And he kind of goes and starts interviewing people.
Ladies, I think we have a real problem here. First of all, we've not heard back from Alice yet. She left in a bit of a hurry. I'd left my cellular, oh wow, bungled that word coming out of my mouth. I left my cellular back at the at my home. I don't bring it to parties. Does anyone have a means of reaching her?
I pull out my cell phone.
Oh, thank goodness.
Hold on.
And another thing. I've heard rumors that Dalrymple and his wife are kind of on the outs, so I feel like we didn't actually drag him away from anything really important. But don't say anything. You didn't hear it from me.
All right, I won't say a thing. But okay, what do we do now? Do we just? I'm afraid. I think Muriel's like staring at the body. Also, she's really shaken up by everything this evening with Isaiah Langmore. So she's just kind of like mouth moving, but very few words coming out.
Like all you hear from like Rosemary is like tap 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 tap, and then and then like a photo shutter as like I take a picture of the body and I send it to Alice.
I think, Alice, when your phone goes off, that's what distracts Isaiah long enough for you to make your move. So how do you escape?
Alice, when Isaiah does that, like, react to the phone going off, probably on a table or something, Alice will immediately just do a quick launch. She's got springy legs, from hiking and walking around and doing photography and everything. And so she just leaps and just latches on to Isaiah Langmore's wrist like a dog, and and even does the thing like that to get him to drop it. And once he drops the knife, he's grabbing his wrist. I think she starts swinging the chair around that she's taped to, just like almost like a bullfighter or like a lion tamer, just swinging it around in the hopes that like maybe it might break, maybe she might get loose. Just make Isaiah Langmore think that she's gone rabid. She's just full, like just a rabid coyote, just losing it.
I think you do. I think basically, tipping over is what kind of lets you get off the chair, right? Because it sort of slides you off from behind.
Yeah.
And so you are, you're off the chair. You can walk around. I think your hands are still tied behind your back. What do you do to like stop Isaiah fully at this point?
He's probably reacting dazed, being like, what's going on? And she just full form just like runs into him, and his back of the head hits the wall, just like pushes him, and then it's just like looking around the room excitedly, hands taped behind her back.
And then you can grab the knife and cut yourself free.
Yeah.
And we'll reconnect you. You can answer the phone too, I suppose, and get on the phone with Rosemary.
Yeah, we'll just answer the phone and says, Rosemary, Corinne Waitley and her flowery vulvic void friends or whatever are trying to, they're doing some weird shit, and Isaiah Langmore had me all tied up, gonna kick Isaiah Langmore. Had me tied up in a basement or something. I'm coming, darling, don't you worry. And then just hang up immediately. No explanation.
Rosemary.
Okay. Isaiah Langmore, he's a fucker. And Alice is kind of all right. She's on her way. That's all I can know. Also, there's a cult.
Oh, what?
Think. Yes, there.
Well, we knew that. It's the Corinne Waitley's wellness people. We knew that. They're a cult. You yourself said they were a cult just a few weeks ago.
And they're Satanists, and they have robots.
Okay, well,
and they were trying to sacrifice Alice. So
what?
Yes, that's all I know. She broke out, and she's on her way.
Ladies, get in the car. We got to go pick up Alice, and maybe punch Corinne Waitley and Isaiah Langmore while we're doing it.
Well, you can certainly do that. I think if you try to leave, I think Dalrymple will be like, no. No one's leaving. Muriel, Rosemary, Doll, I got to question everybody. I got to find out what's going on here, because from where I'm standing, the three of you tried to pin the murder. Wait. Anyway, from where I'm standing, the three of you look pretty guilty.
Sheriff Dalrymple, there was someone here earlier that's no longer here. It's one Isaiah Langmore, and
Isaiah Langmore, he couldn't commit a murder.
Well, he's a witness.
Are you telling me Isaiah Langmore came here to kill a former Hollywood mogul and his manager? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
Sounds more likely than we did it.
Hi, I was about to say, following your logic, if Isaiah Langmore is not a likely candidate, how are we?
Because you're here.
And so was he.
He couldn't, but who
He
could have done
left.
this? He left.
Okay, that is actually the first good point you've made.
Worse, in any case, we have to establish a timeline here, ladies. I need you to stay here. Where is Alice?
In the basement somewhere.
She's somewhere. We're figuring that out. Constable Dalrymple.
Oh, the murder mavens. I have to say, it is somewhat reassuring to know that even you ladies are fallible.
Well, to be fair, Alice is not here, so it requires a team effort.
You're at 75% capacity, huh?
I feel like
he doesn't want you to leave.
Yeah. We probably find a spot of a corner of the party for us to kind of be huddled in, kind of sullenly fuming as we're trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies, what I think needs to happen right now is I think we need to really clear our minds.
Mm.
And I know for me, what really helps me to get back into a more calm mood is listening to the police radio. And I take out my phone, and I think I don't really know how to use my cell phone aside from the police radio app that my son helped install, and speed dial. So I think I hit the police radio app, turn it up so that just the three of us can hear it as we huddle in, and just take in the really comforting tones of the dispatch.
Can we do a
officers.
three-person cozy move?
Technically no.
No.
Oh,
is this your cozy move? Is this your cozy
I'm trying
activity?
to do a cozy move, yeah.
Okay, very good.
If you need me to wander off,
just
I can
pick one. Yeah, pick a maven.
Yeah, Rosemary's just not listening.
Yeah, I'm trying to because
Rosemary should go find that other clue, probably.
Yeah, I think I argue with Sheriff Dalrymple for a bit, trying to get at the body. However, since I did take a picture of it, I'm just zooming in on my phone, trying to find details.
You can do the meddling move with reason.
Okay. We're gonna get 2 clues.
Oh no.
That's a 12.
A 12. Oh, very interesting. Okay. So you're looking at a picture that you took of Marcus's body, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll come back to that in a bit. What's this cozy situation happening here? Because you all get to find a clue too.
Yeah, I'm down with this. I feel like Doll, you've turned on your
police radio app. Your
police radio app, very cool. Just kind of sitting there in the corner. I feel like Muriel has picked up just an entire tray of hors d'oeuvres that was on the bar and is just fully just kind of just tossing them back, just munching them, just kind of trying to steady herself and just being like,
I think we're listening to a high-speed car chase from Brindlewood Bay to Faversham. And it's the helicopter dispatch people or the helicopter people watching it and kind of narrating what's going on. I think the camera cuts over to that, and it's of course nighttime. We see the car sort of zooming back and forth as the narration happens over the police radio.
I want to add an additional detail. I think that it's for those of anyone who's seen the cinematic masterpiece Undercover Brother, it looks like a high speed chase, and then until it peels back and you see it's just a stolen golf cart that's moving at 6 miles an hour being chased by some police cruiser.
Yeah, and it's not even a cruiser; it's a cheap drone.
It's this is the most exciting Brindlewood County gets sometimes. Yeah.
And I think you just see the tension in Doll's shoulders just start to relax. There's just something about police radio,
I have never listened to it before, but I don't know, there's something vaguely hypnotic about it. I light a jazz cigarette and just start smoking in the corner. What's what is a 10-91H? Is that code for something?
Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of codes in this. And the more
They're
you listen,
speaking
the more you
codes.
learn them.
Okay, so what's a 10-91H?
10-91H is stolen Canadian goose.
A stolen Canadian goose all the way in Brindlewood County. Oh,
Well, I
wait
mean,
a
and
bit.
they're very dangerous. They're
Are they?
extraordinarily dangerous.
Canadian gooses or geese are actually quite dangerous.
Well,
Oh.
yes, in Canada, you put all the Canadians put all of their anger and rage into the geese.
Is that right?
Yes.
Why?
Well,
I mean, in
think about
Scotland,
it.
we just kind of put all the anger in ourselves. You know,
And you
I
see how
mean,
that works out for you?
I pretty well thus far. I'm thriving in my age.
And works out for our geese.
Okay, well, that's good for the Canada gooses then. I almost forgot that there was a murder. Just...
Relaxing.
That's really relaxing, actually.
I love it.
For the record, a 10-91H actually is stray horse, just so everyone's aware.
Yeah, very good.
I was close.
You were.
It was an animal.
Doll, you get to create a clue or find a clue that you stumble on in the scene. But Amanda, you get to create it, so just be doing that. And Rosemary, I owe you a clue and a void clue. The clue in the picture is easy enough. There is a pair of muddy boot prints walking away from the body. That's pretty straightforward. You can see that in the picture. The void clue, the strange thing in the picture is, so Marcus is strung up like the scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz, and the little shirt they've put on him is actually kind of like open a little bit at the chest. And in the hole where the shirt is kind of open a bit, you see a little face in the hole, very small, like a baby's face, with kind of like dead looking eyes and little gummy mouth, like open, like. What do you do, Rosemary?
Like I'm just staring at this picture, like horrified. I think I deleted it off my phone.
I think you hear I think Sprat came with Dalrymple,
Oh,
and
God.
he's tending to the body, and you hear Sprat, as soon as you delete the picture, you hear Sprat from the Tinseltown room say, "He's got a little face on his stomach." And Coco will say, "Oh, that's he had a little Siamese twin that didn't quite make it all the way. That's what's left of him. He used to show it at parties. It was a big hit with the B horror movie crowd, as you might imagine. We even filmed it once. I'm pretty sure it was in the 12 Sexy Labors of Hercules. I can't quite recall."
Wait, that wasn't like a practical effects? Like,
No, he's got a little baby brother right there.
This is Alex speaking. I'm never going to emotionally recover from this moment. Oh my God, that's awful. Oh, Wes, were you not here for that when he mentioned it before?
Mentioned what?
The 12 Sexy Labors of Hercules.
Okay.
It's the Nemean lion, but sexy. Oh. Okay, I'm back.
So, you all have new clues. Doll, what's your clue that you stumble on?
I think being inspired by listening to this car chase, the clue that I realize is one of the posters in the room that we were in, one of the movie posters, let's say Vampire Toga Party 4, which is of course Toga's in New York, where they go to.
They always got to go to
New
Manhattan.
York.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that one of the cars that's in the picture is very obviously one of Abner's cars. He used it in the movie. And when we were coming in, we didn't see it in the parking lot, so I think it's stolen. I
Oh,
think someone
someone
stole
took
his
Abner's car. Oh, interesting. What is the what kind of car is it? Is that relevant or?
It's a Kia Sportage. I don't know cars.
Abner's car is missing, we'll say. I'm pretty sure it's Sportage, also not Sportage.
Isn't it Sportage? Isn't that what they say in the
Sportage.
commercials? Oh, I thought for sure in the commercials it was Sportage.
Maybe they do. I don't know.
I don't
Like to
know.
make it fancy.
There's like a Lamborghini that's like a Countach, a Countach or something like
Yeah,
that. Maybe
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like
the
people pronounce
commercials, it was
Target,
like-
Target. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. That's what I thought they were trying to do with it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't watch commercials. I don't know anything about cars.
Alice, we can reunite with the group now. So you're all together. Alice comes in, maybe flustered, into the house, if that's okay. Unless you have something else you want to do, Alice.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Just like comes
Yeah.
in, just in a huff and a puff, immediately just grabs a drink from the bar.
And Dalrymple says, "Well, there we go. The gang's all here."
Now we can
Alice,
theorize.
Where have you been, Sheriff?
well, tonight is my 40th wedding anniversary, Alice. My wife and I.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My wife and I were having an intimate dinner when we got the call.
Well, while you and your wife were having an intimate dinner at O'Hoonigan's, which I'm sure that's where you were eating, fast casual dining seems to be your cup of tea.
He looks away briefly, not confirming or denying this.
I was trapped in a basement by Corinne Waitley and Isaiah Langmore.
Do you want to file a report, a kidnapping report?
I would love to file an assault report or whatever kind of report. It's probably going to take a long time to get across your desk, but you
Well,
can
how
find
did you get
us.
here?
I walked.
How did you escape if you were kidnapped?
I bit that son of a bitch's wrist until he let go of a knife, and then I knocked his ass out against the wall. His head hit the wall, and I had to cut myself out with a sharp but rusty knife and walk all the way here from God knows where, what part of Brindlewood Bay. It ain't that big of a town, but it felt like a long walk.
From the far other end of the house, Muriel just goes, "That's my girl."
Are you suggesting that Isaiah Langmore or Corinne Waitley were responsible for the murders that took place here tonight?
No, I'm not suggesting that. I mean, maybe. No, probably. No, they have nothing to do with the murders that happened at this house tonight. But they did have something to do with kidnapping me and causing me to be under duress.
Well, murder trumps kidnapping, Alice, so you're gonna have to just get in line. Now,
Oh,
let's get back to this, shall we? I'm glad you're okay. And then so now the
Thank
four
you.
of you are together.
Alice, are you okay?
I'm fine. I just can't get that taste of brine out of my mouth, and it's not the good kind either.
There's a good kind.
Yeah, like pickle brine and everything.
Oh,
like that.
that's very true. Very true.
Mm.
Aye, very good. Very good. So wait, Isaiah kidnapped you. I mean, he was haranguing me for the entire party, but I didn't. You left at one point, and
Somebody texted me acting like they were trooper. I think it was that B word, Corinne Waitley, led me to a basement knocked me over the side of the head. Next thing I know, Isaiah Langmore's going over here doing, oh, you're deep and briny deeps of the Brindlewood Bay, and doing his creepy lighthouse keeper routine. And then Corinne Waitley walks down. She starts talking about some kind of fragrant hoo-ha group that is just going on and on about the nexus of protoplasmic material that dwells beneath and beyond Brindlewood Bay.
Whose basement?
You know what it sounded like? It sounded like some kind of sexy stuff, but I wasn't into it, all right?
I mean, if you're not into the sexy stuff, then you got to get out of there. But whose basement were you in?
I have no idea. It could have been... Hell, it could have been my own. I haven't been in my own basement for the past, 4 years. I don't know.
Fair enough. Okay, well, you missed a lot, and so I think we just will fully recap everything that has happened tonight to her.
Out of character, are you all ready to do another theory, or
Yeah.
I think we might be. Yeah, we got a couple
Okay.
of good more clues.
Oh,
Okay,
shit, I
well,
thought
let's
Marcus did it.
So
I
did
got-
we?
I got a little bit distracted because I had to look up the sportage thing. It's a Canadianism.
Oh, okay.
Kia, the company Kia calls it sportage, but Americans call it sportage.
Oh, interesting.
Mystery
Interesting.
solved.
Yeah.
Now,
We did
who
Yeah.
who murdered
Good
Marcus?
job, everyone.
Very intriguing. All right, then, if we have a theory, let's go ahead and do it. You have 8 clues. Also, did Dahl and Muriel clear conditions last time?
Oh, I meant to. Yeah, I'm going to clear Herald of Death. That seems like the most appropriate one to get rid of.
Sounds good. And
I was going to clear irritated, but I think now that Dalrymple's here, I'm even more irritated. So I'm just going
Okay.
to clear squicked
Squicked
out. I
out,
feel a little
sounds
more
good.
relaxed.
very good, very good. Okay, so theory.
Okay, so I do think. So how does this work? Do we have to like fully recontextualize everything, or can we still maintain some of the elements from before?
You just have to have a different. You got to name a different suspect,
Okay,
basically.
okay.
However you get there is fine.
I think the porn stuff from before
Yeah.
absolutely still applies.
Yeah.
Wes, for context, because Wes does not know anything. We had theorized that Abner was trying to move into the adult entertainment industry. And we assumed it was Marcus killing him because Marcus did not want that to happen, and also if Abner died would get everything and was already being kind of cut out of business dealings through like Sam Turlington.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back on that, but I think the him working in pornography is still kind of an angle for a lot of these things. I'm thinking, what if it's Mrs. White actually?
I was thinking Mrs. White or Elena Visage.
Yeah, I was thinking. Well, I would actually say Elena Visage is innocent because she loves her body, and she's always happy to model at least. Unless of course, unless there was an angle there that was like, she's like there's like an artisticness to it.
She
And
wants to go into legitimate acting, and she feels that going into adult entertainment would be backpedaling her own career.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, now I'm torn because I was gonna say, Mrs. White, because like she's been this kind of like outlier that we assumed was just innocently clinging on to them as like a polycule thing, but like there might actually be a murder motive. But Elena Visage is also I'm torn.
Mrs. White just for Elena's own purpose, just to be like, I don't know. Let's continue. Let's keep
let's keep the ball rolling.
riffing.
I
Yeah.
also do want to just to make it percolate a little bit in our brains. My suggestion in chat that Marcus's little face twin did it. That is just a little suggestion. We don't have to go there.
Noted. Duly noted. We'll file that one. We'll get back to you in 5 to 8 business days.
Comes back. I get this thing in the mail rejected.
The muddy footprints. I actually have a good idea for this. I think that since Chaotic, you established that Marcus had the muddy footprints. Well, there are 2 people who had muddy footprints.
Yeah.
And because there were 2 people wandering outside at one point, Marcus was. We assumed it was Marcus, but he was just someone who had walked up and seen the actual culprit who was walking outside. Maybe didn't witness the murder, but like saw this person. So I think that whoever we decide on, those muddy footprints belong to them because they were also because I mean, like they also were wandering. We can say that like maybe like at the time of the murder, Marcus was actually had stepped out for like a cigarette and was like around the back of the house where it was muddy. And then the person who actually committed the murder, we still do the thing with the Dracula cape where they had climbed down from the upper floor. And had done the murder and was maneuvering back when they were spotted by Marcus, and like they just kind of like played it off, blah 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 blah. And when Marcus had gone back inside, they had quickly climbed back up, or maybe they never went back upstairs because maybe that's because I know originally we said, oh, the cape was still there because Marcus climbed back up but didn't get to retrieve it from the upstairs bathroom. What if in this case the culprit climbed down, spotted by Marcus, and had to go back in through like, the first floor, so they didn't get the chance to climb back up the cape and pull it back up to pull it back in. I think that's what the angle there is this time.
Another like sort of instance of like there was muddy boots in the bedroom. Like are we going to say that Marcus is barefoot, or is like, does Marcus still have shoes on? Because someone's missing a pair of shoes.
Oh, maybe. Oh, I think on Marcus's body, he's still wearing his shoes, and that like maybe that way we assumed that they were Marcus's boots that he had discarded, but he's still wearing his.
Yeah.
So somebody swapped out their shoes, and that like they just look similar to Marcus's. They were like kind of like heavy, like kind of like heavier boots. If they were like heavier, thick-soled shoes, I don't know how we would contextualize this, but maybe it was neither Elena or Mrs. White. Maybe it was Gordon Thune. He's dressed as Frankenstein's monster. He's probably wearing thick shoes, like thick, like platform boots. Like,
yeah, we haven't really got into Gordon.
We have not gone into him at all. He's been an outlier.
Quiet. Yeah, he's been pretty quiet. He's stayed out of it. He does have a financial interest in Abner's business and whatever, that is a thing.
He is a banker, yeah.
I mean, I think the best place to start is just why might he wanted to have done it. I mean, killing Marcus makes sense if Marcus just like saw him, but like
posing him is another matter. Yeah.
That's a bit weird. But also I think the real key thing is like, why would he have killed Abner, right?
Yeah. Well, you could tie it back into that. Is Gordon the type of person that wants his money and his name attached to something like the adult film industry?
No, definitely not. Yeah, but enough to commit murder, though. I mean, that's
enough.
I have a weird angle. Not and I'm trying to think of how we can apply this to any of the suspects, really. But I think maybe we've been looking at this wrong the whole time, and there's actually something a little bit more sinister going on. I mean, that's obviously evident by the fact that we have a displayed body. I think, and we misinterpreted the stack of rejected movie scripts. We saw the majority of them are like relatively sexy themed because it was basically softcore. But there was another script in that pile that we didn't notice. It was like, to come up with a random title off the top of my head, it was like, Sexy Halloween Nightmare Massacre, or something like that. So our eyes kind of glazed over it. But like at a closer examination, the whole film was about a series of like murders that take place at a party that are each like displayed decoratively. There is a film being made right now.
A snuff film?
They're making a film right now.
There is a secret film being made right now. I
love it.
That is someone has set up this entire party and is making a film. There are hidden cameras. I don't know what clue we can say that there is for that, but like we are essentially like in a jigsaw situation where someone is murdering people and filming it and making a movie to be displayed. And it was designed for it to murder Abner, and also designed to murder Marcus, and maybe is picking off people one by one. And
who's supposed to be the final girl?
Elena.
Elena was supposed to be the final girl, I would assume.
I wonder if like the choice to like make, so this is an interesting theory. The choice to like make this movie and also kill Abner and Marcus feels like connected ideas, right? Like these weren't not just random people. They killed like the two business guys, right? The two like producers, the two people who were like really heavily involved in like what would be the distribution of this movie. who has the most to gain financially from them being dead? Coco, possibly.
Yeah.
Coco's an option.
Sam Turlington,
Sam.
possibly.
Yeah. Who was
Uh,
arguing with Marcus about money.
They were having a fight about money. That is right. That feels like a key moment to me, whatever that argument was. Elena did make a couple of remarks about, this wasn't a clue, but she made a couple of remarks about like having aged out of starring roles. So maybe she wants to take on more of a producer director role. That's a possibility. She just wants to direct, you know. And so getting rid of Abner might be a way of doing that. And this being her opus or her initial, you know, kind of foray. There's possibilities, right?
There's a lot of possibilities. And here's something I'm thinking of, but I'm obviously flexible. What I'm hearing, especially with Jason's prompting here, is basically everyone here could have been like financially interested in a bunch of different projects.
They're
here.
in on it. They're all in on it.
Well, I think originally they were all working together on an idea, but that was not the idea. Was not the murder. Was not like the murder displays. These murders feel more personal, spiteful, and like satirical. Like, I am going to make a mockery out of these individuals. And I truly think, like, from what you're describing, all of these people in various ways have been corrupted and made into bad people by money and the desire to exploit an industry for the sake of financial gain. And one person does not gain financially from the situation, but gains personally from making an example of all these people who were corrupted by Hollywood and its money. And I think that is Mrs. White. Someone who was in love with Coco Vidal, somebody who very much cares for Coco, but all the people in Coco's life surrounding her are these terrible exploitative people. And Mrs. White is essentially picking off these, in her opinion, corrupting influences around her in this night, and is also just so happens to, because I think maybe if we wanted to do the secret film angle, that was the plot that was being discussed. Like Marcus and Abner and Sam and maybe a couple others were all in on this idea. Like, we're gonna make this like hidden camera, maybe like snuff film, because like we're gonna get kind of like do some shit here. I mean, like that reel you made back in the 80s, Abner, that was hot stuff. Like, we can make a killing out of that.
Maybe they wanted it to be like, it would be like Faces of Death, which was not actually real, but was presented as real. And so it was going to be like a faux snuff film kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Mrs. White was like, why not?
Why not just kill them all?
Exactly.
Why not just kill them all? I mean, it'll be better for Coco in the end. Kills Abner in the well, I mean, because she was on site back there anyway. I mean, she's the one who found his body anyway.
And Coco benefits from Abner's death, therefore Mrs. White benefits from Abner's death. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And if Mrs. White knew that they were planning this faux snuff film at this party, then starting to pick people off, maybe, let's say, I don't know, Marcus starts to think, oh, well, maybe, you know, Sam or Gordon or somebody killed Abner to make this snuff film real, to make us even more money. So nobody was really reacting like super panicked.
I think
somebody had gotten murdered, because they all thought, oh, well, maybe somebody's taking this, you know.
Or maybe they just thought it was fake.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I think maybe like it was in the script that Abner would, you know, the director would be killed. And so they all just assumed, oh man, he's really committed to this part. This is actually the best performance Abner's ever given. He really should have worked as an actor.
Oh, so it's like just dawning on them that the murder is real, basically.
Yeah. After seeing Marcus,
Yeah, that's interesting.
After seeing Marcus, like they realize, wait, this is real.
All right. This is intriguing. Why don't we work through the clues?
Yeah, let's work through the clues.
So Mrs. White's connection to Coco. If we're going to say that Mrs. White is the one who started doing the real killing, that feels like the really integral clue there.
Yeah.
The Abner sex party with Elena, that is just a pretty good indication they've done gonzo shit like this before, right? I mean, that makes sense. The vampire cloak speaks to means. Essentially, it was used to get up to the master bedroom?
Mrs. White went up to the master bedroom. I mean, she's the maid. I mean, she was like, you know, putting coats away or something. Yeah. Stole the cloak from the Tinseltown room and climbed down from the tree branch down to get to the level so she could like kill him and then climb back up. And it's kind of
she could walk down and discover him.
that she could walk down and discover him. Well,
Yeah.
I think the
Or
fact that,
she
that
might just use the secret. Why didn't she just use the secret passage?
no. So what I was saying is that she wanted to get outside to kill Abner in the porch where she wouldn't be seen. So the same thing as we did for Marcus. She took the cloak, walked upstairs, and used it to tie it to the branch outside the window to climb down outside.
Oh, I see.
And then killed, like knocked him over the head with the Briddy Award, killed him, shattered it. And then as she was walking to climb back up so she could come downstairs, that's when she was spotted by Marcus, who was having a cigarette outside, kind of got stuck into conversation with him. And she just had to go back out to the porch. And then she kind of that's when she found the body. So there is kind of the revelation moment of, oh, wait, you went upstairs, but we never saw you come back downstairs. So maybe we assumed, oh, well, then she knew about the passage, but no, she climbed outside and never got the chance to go back up.
And then she killed Marcus because Marcus realized that Abner was actually dead.
Yeah.
And so when Rosemary was talking to Marcus, Mrs. White opened the secret passageway, grabbed him, dragged him, and closed him through. And that is where that's where that came in.
And then she got artistic with the arranging of his body.
Might as well.
Which is presumably being filmed. Yeah.
They're filming it anyway, yeah.
Well, I think if we can make a case for one of these clues connecting up to a camera system, I think that would really nail it. I mean,
the Shattered Briddy Award, could there potentially have been a camera within that, or like a microphone or something?
If it was a Briddy Award, it probably would have been displayed in a prominent place in the house. So maybe there's a little hidden camera in the base of it, that would have because the Briddy Award was missing from the bar, for example,
or the flowers, maybe the flowers. The camera in them.
There are multiple clues, I think.
Funeral.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's good. I also have there's another possible camera option, which is the discarded Halloween masks. They could have handed those out to people, be like, oh, here's some here's a mask, but all of them have little pinhole cameras
or whatever,
attached to them.
And the car was stolen. It wasn't really stolen. Mrs. White has access to the cars. She moved the car in case she and Coco needed a quick getaway. She moved it.
Oh, it's
away
parked.
From, it's down the road.
Or it's hidden. Oh, wait. Oh my God. Wait. We what if the there's a copse of trees or something nearby, with low hanging willow branches or something, and it's just parked out behind that. And
it's just idling. It's on, ready to go in case they need to.
Maybe.
Intriguing.
This is a completely different angle. Oh my goodness.
Totally different angle, but it's intriguing for sure. So we can add the context of, I like the idea of there were cameras in the masks that were going to be passed out to the attendees.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a camera in the floral arrangement
in the Briddy Award.
And which indicates, and then we have this script, which is basically laying out what this was all going to be.
Yeah.
The guests all thought Abner was in on it and not actually dead. And until Marcus was killed. What about the argument between Marcus and Sam?
It was about money.
That's the same as our previous theory. I think it was about the money and who should we be doing porn?
Well, not even necessarily just porn, since I think the porn angle is now kind of getting a little bit shunted off to the side. Yeah. I think because what we had previously established with that one was that they were arguing because Marcus didn't want to fund something, but Sam was just I'm funding it. I have enough money. I'm doing that. So it could have been they had this clashing kind of vision of what we should be doing with this project. And we interpret that to be oh, they're talking about pornography. Oh my goodness.
But no, it's this other thing.
It was competing financials for listen, producer credits basically come down to who gave the most money to the production. And Marcus is kind of being shunted off to the side. He kind of realized in that circumstance.
Yeah.
So
it's a wild clue. It's a wild theory. You have a great bonus here. You should have no trouble getting correct answer here.
Do we feel solid on this theory?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think I love it. I mean, it's outlandish, but I love it.
Yeah.
So is John Malkovich.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And his twin brother.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll.
Okay.
Who wants to roll?
I've had terrible rolls this past week. I'm not.
Alice broke out of kidnapping. Let's have Alice roll it.
Yeah.
You want me to roll it?
Yeah, dude.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Alice.
It's an impressive +5, so go for it.
I'm going to use my Halloween dice here.
Very nice.
Perfect.
Nice. All right. Okay. We got a +5?
Yeah.
You can do it.
What if it was Snake Eyes? That would be
That'd
be
so
wild.
wild, wouldn't it? It's a 4 + 4 + 5, so it's a
Okay,
Okay.
we're good.
it's an A
You are
plus
you are
1.
well
Yeah.
well into it. The 12 plus result, there's a special thing if I recall correctly. It says that
I think we get somebody
A dark-
reveals
Yeah,
themselves.
a dark
Oh.
conspirator.
that's very intriguing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I like that. That's good. All right.
Which, if I recall, that isn't always necessarily the the murderer.
No, it can
Yeah,
just be
that's
somebody
cool.
on the scene. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Well, this is all. I think you describe everything as it was. Like, I think you've got everybody gathered there. You go through, you show all the stuff, all this business. It's all like adding up. It's all rock solid. Even the people who are attending the party are like, yes, that's what was happening. We thought Abner was in on it, like the industry people like Elena and Sam, and maybe even I don't know, maybe June and Gregor knew about it too. Like, who knows? But
Oh my god, yeah.
but
you know what I think is fun is the fact that it's like all the party guests who are not those people who are in on it are just like, we didn't sign a consent form to be filmed, and that is more legally dubious than the actual murder.
Actually, I think we go back and we look at the guest book we signed when we walked in. And
Oh my god,
little
no,
tiny
print.
it's a release form. Oh my god.
oh my god, it's so
Like,
good.
ah!
You were like signing a release form and you didn't know it. It's great.
My God.
That's really good. So okay. And the four of you were just there because like you were being filmed. You were being filmed like looking around and like search, you were part of the story, right?
Mhm.
So that's all great. So yeah, the other attendees like confirmed that like they thought this was this sort of like gonzo found footage, kind of like project that was happening. And Dalrymple's listening to all this and he says, and Mrs. White even confesses.
Mhm.
And Mrs. White and Sheriff Dalrymple says, well, I guess that means I have to bring you in, ma'am. And Mrs. White looks at him and she says, are you sure about that, Wyman?
Oh.
You made a commitment many, many years ago. A commitment to people who were here at the beginning. I don't want to have to cash in my chips. But wouldn't it be best if we all just locked this place up and forgot any of this happened? And Wyman says, it is a rather extravagant theory and set of circumstances. And he says, folks, those of you who are from out of town, you stand to lose a lot being here, implicated in the murder of your benefactor and his manager. June, Gordon, Brindlewood Bay can't handle this kind of publicity again. Ladies, you've done excellent work, but sometimes it's important to protect the community. Sometimes there are bigger callings. Now, we're all going to leave this place one by one, and we're going to forget any of this ever happened. Isn't that right?
You stole that from the cinematic masterpiece Clue starring Tim Curry.
Yes. But in this case, no one's out in the driveway waiting to arrest anyone. Deputy Spratt will take those of you home who need to go home, who need a ride. I'm very sorry for your trouble. What do you all do?
Sheriff,
Rosemary.
I can be persuaded to be okay with this outcome.
Good.
I just want the truth.
The truth is, Ms. Mortimer, we are on the verge of a new age. The world is too complicated. Everyone wants to be individualistic. Everyone wants to be their own little special snowflake. It's time that we all learned how to be together, that we celebrate oneness. Now, do we all agree that it would be better for everyone here in town to just let this go?
It doesn't sound like we have much of a choice, Constable Dalrymple.
You do not, Ms. McGregor. You do not.
And if we don't let it go,
This town is filled with Isaiah Langmores, Ms. Ryan.
I should have retired to Faversham.
The guests are like, this is cool by us. And they're all leaving.
I'm from Boston. I'm good to go. Like, this is my, all right.
Wicked party. Great.
Wicked party. Great
Love
party.
down the
Really
bed.
great party. Yeah, great times. Hey, love your films. All
We're
right.
heading by car.
Yeah, I fully feel like
Alice is just gonna walk by the sheriff and just go, and just go, Well, when you go pick up Isaiah Langmore, you tell him the next time he puts a hand on me, he's gonna need a hook to replace it. Have a nice night, Sheriff.
hey, watch your back. And as I'm like walking to the front door, as I've established, I take my broadsword out of the umbrella rack and I kind of like heft it. And I kind of just like walk back into like just the middle of the room where Dalrymple is. And I just swing it openly at a vase, just like shatter it in the room and then do it again. And then just like bury it into the bar. And I just like walk out, totally give him the jug on and just leave.
Doll has been standing there trying to think of something to say, but after Muriel does that, she just sort of shuffles after Muriel. Can't really follow that.
Very well. Anything else?
I would like to have a quick little vignette scene after we leave the party.
Sure.
Back at one of our homes, maybe?
Yeah, I think whoever
Mhm.
lives closest to Dalrymple, and
Or
Doll.
to Vidal's.
Yeah, I think in this case it's closest
Oh,
to Dalrymple for
yeah.
my.
Oh, fun.
It's still Halloween. It's very early in the morning now. Trick or treating is done, but everyone still has. There's still lighting and decorations and such out, and I think Doll has disappeared into the bathroom for a moment. She comes out and she's just got rolls and rolls of toilet paper. Does anyone have any eggs? We can go visit Dalrymple's house.
Mhm.
I've got a bit of I've a stockpile of farm-raised eggs in my fridge. I'd be happy to loan them. Oh, I walk over to Rosemary and I just kind of like, Mary puts her hands on her shoulders and goes, it's all right, dear, it's all right. I know. You did great, though. Can I just say, you did great tonight.
Yes.
This
There's
is
something wrong with this town.
There's something deeply wrong in Brindlewood Bay. And don't you think for a moment that we are going to let this slip. We may be shutting up about it now for the sake of our betterment, but we are going to pry deeper than we've ever pried before. Ladies, the murder mavens are going to meddle more than we've meddled before.
Can't remember if she said protoplasmic or photoplasmic.
I think it was protoplasmic, love.
Disgusting. You know, if you put an Oreo cream side down on somebody's car and you let it sit overnight, it removes the paint.
Is that right? I got Oreos in my cabinet too.
Yeah.
I've got quite a bit of red paint laying about.
And not to be too mischievous, but I did happen to snag a few of these masks from the Vidal party.
Very good. The Mavens spend the rest of the night playing tricks on Sheriff Dalrymple. And that concludes All Hallows Scream. Let's take a 10-minute break. We'll come back and introduce the next mystery, but the next mystery is going to be a Thanksgiving television special. So
Ooh.
get in that
Wait, that
mood.
doesn't make sense. Thanksgiving's before Halloween.
Yes, we know. American Thanksgiving special. I'll see you all in 10. We are back. It's time for Cozy Vignettes. The music is playing. It's Thanksgiving, both in the TV show of Brindlewood Bay and the real world. And, it all blends together, I guess. Let's have some Cozy Vignettes. Whoever wants to go first. And if you have Shadow in the Garden, Mark, don't forget you have to also narrate a creepy thing as well.
Let's go ahead and start with Alice is in a dark room. The red light is on, and she's looking between two different photos and trying to spot the difference. And as things are going on, she's like kind of making those, very traditional opening of a movie or opening of a TV show faces at them, trying to spot the difference, realizing that they're the same picture. And then the light flickers. The red light flickers. And in between the flickering, we see shadows coalescing in the corner behind her. And then it stops flickering. She turns, she looks over her shoulder, and there's nothing there. And then she's back.
We see Muriel. She's sitting in. Oh, not Muriel. You're Muriel. We see Doll, and she is sitting in her comfy chair. Her phone is on the table next to her, and of course, the police radio is on. She's knitting, and she's leaning in towards the phone as the action gets more and more enthralling. You can hear snippets from the police radio. They have spotted the perp. He's in the house. He's got a knife. It's long and curved and ritualistic. He's stepping past the windows. We almost got a line of sight. Almost. No, he's out of the sight. And we see a shadow behind Doll, and it looks like a man with a long curved knife. There's a loud bang on the police radio. We got him. We got him. And the shadow is gone. And Doll leans back with a satisfied, now that's how real police do it. Goes back to her knitting.
It's a real Rocky montage for Muriel in her joggers and sweatshirt and sweatbands, which are all horrendously tartan Scottish plaid, just jogging around Brindlewood Bay, kind of like in the early foggy autumn morning. And we see that she's sitting on top of a cliff, a precipice, shadow boxing, obviously without the shadows, just kind of just doing some exercise and stuff like that. And when she kind of goes through her front door at home, still kind of sweaty, just kind of taking deep breaths, we see that she walks into her kitchen and starts, just kind of like preparing her like post-workout herbal kind of blend, like a smoothie that she makes. And as she's drinking that down, kind of like casually walking through her living room, you see that she picks up darts from the table and just begins throwing them at the wall. And the camera pans over, and you see that a picture of Corinne Waitley, Isaiah Langmore, Dalrymple have all been taped to the dartboard, and she's just throwing darts at their faces and hitting them right on the money.
I think just to prepare for the season, Rosemary has gotten out like sort of all like her like baking, like cooking stuff in our kitchen, and she's baking up the storm. And like something that has changed from her home previously is like all her blinds in the house have been drawn, and every so often she would just take a look out and peer just to see like various people walking across like a street of Brindlewood Bay. But she like has like a tally board mark about like in the list of names about who walks in front of her house. And oddly enough, Miss Waitley has the highest amount of tallies.
Fabulous. Our mystery is called The Great Brindlewood Bay Bake-Off. It is a few weeks after the harrowing events at Abner Vidal and Coco Vidal's manor, or their home. The initial shock of Dalrymple's complicity or complicitness in the murder has perhaps worn off a little bit, enough to be excited. And indeed, perhaps the excitement replaces your horror. Excited about being invited to participate in the world's most popular television program, The Jolly Good Baking Show. Now, The Jolly Good Baking Show is normally a baking program that is filmed in England, and it shows the best of amateur bakers in the United Kingdom. But this is a special American Thanksgiving episode of the Jolly Good Baking Show. They have come to Brindlewood Bay, a town that production has deemed to be the most Thanksgiving-y or something. I don't know. I'm not sure why they chose Brindlewood Bay, but nevertheless, here they are. There was actually a number of qualifying rounds to get to the televised portion, and you all have qualified to be on the televised portion, along with 2 other contestants. The other contestants are Melanie Blair, another local, and Scott Lamb, another local, though he's not really a local. He actually is, for those of you who watch the Jolly Good Baking Show, you know that Scott Lamb was on a previous edition of the regular British show and got into a big fight with Judge Paul Riviera, and it was a big deal on social media. And as a bit of stunt casting, they have brought Scott Lamb on for this edition of the show just to have that drama. But because they had to get a Brindlewood Bay local to make it a local thing, they actually rented an apartment for Scott Lamb so he could live here for a few months so that he could plausibly say he is from Brindlewood Bay. And so you are all the 6 contestants. You are going to be on the televised portion of the show. You're going to meet the charming presenters, Sue Mellon and Timothy Bush. Have your confections judged by the notoriously strict Paul and Jane. The first opening round of the competition is pies. This is Thanksgiving-themed pies, and so it has to be something that could plausibly be served at Thanksgiving, but you have to give it a spin. It can't just be a pie. There has to be something special about it, either in presentation or flavor, okay? So be thinking about your pies. As the filming is going, as everything is sort of like being, there's a cameraman, Buck, who's roaming around, capturing, B-roll of the environment, but also sort of like film, watching you all crack eggs into bowls and whisk flour and all that kind of stuff. They occasionally ask you questions that you respond to, so that it looks like you're talking aloud about your process or whatever. And I think Buck comes up to you, Muriel, and he says, okay, so just describe what you're doing here, Muriel.
Right, so I am preparing a delicious blueberry, fig, and rosemary pie with a delectable pastry crust. It's not the type of pies I'm used to making. I work better with meat, but I found that especially the herbal blend with the delicious fruits that I'm using work pretty well. I've also added some other surprise herbs and garnishes to really bring out and enhance the flavor.
Steely-eyed Judge Paul Riviera and posh elderly Judge Jane Leaf, they approach your workstation, Alice, and Paul says, all right then, so what are you making for us today, Alice?
I just want to say I'm really happy to be here. Just constantly looking at the camera, kind of like waving. Just happy to be involved. Happy to be involved. So, I'm from West Virginia, which is up in northern Appalachia and everything like that, and we're close neighbors to Pennsylvania. And what is very, very particular and standard for Thanksgiving around Pennsylvania, West Virginia, is a gobbler. You know what a gobbler is?
No, I don't believe I've heard the term, Jane says.
All right. Well, a gobbler is it's a sandwich that you can get at a local convenience store chain called Wawa, where it is just bread, turkey, cranberry sauce, green beans, gravy, and mashed potatoes all on one sandwich. And I said, you know what, sandwich? That's so messy. That's nothing that you can really have. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making what is called Alice Ollinger's homemade famous gobbler pie. What we're going to be doing is a nice little meat pie here with turkey, gravy, green beans, things of that nature. And then I'm going to have a nice little bread, bread pie crust filling, and then a spread of cranberry across the top. It's going to be layered. It's going to be delicious. It's going to knock your limey socks off. I tell you what.
Paul says, I love it. I love it. And Jane says, yes, that's fantastic. I can't say I understand all of the words you just said, but I can't wait to gobble your wawa. And they go. Meanwhile, one of the other contestant, Melanie Blair, she's a local. Her parents actually used to own a bakery in town, but it closed down a while ago. So she knows her way around the baking kitchen. She's a very frazzled person, but she's actually quite intense. This is a classic Jolly Good Baking Show character, the young woman who seems like she doesn't have her shit together, but she's actually really, really good. She is that character for sure. And she's just freaking the fuck out. She's having a total breakdown. Sue and Timothy rush over to comfort her, it's gonna be okay. Don't worry about it. It's just a pie. It's just a pie. And she's like, I know. I shouldn't be crying over pie. I know. And then Scott, he kind of quips to the camera, that's a lot of emotion for pie. And Buck swings into you, doll. Buck. Buck's a local boy. He's a heartfelt soul. He's very, very he's famously a very has a sweet poetic nature to him, right? It's strange that he's a cameraman as a job. And he says, okay, Ms. Ryan, just tell us a little bit about what you're doing here.
Oh, and she's very obviously nervous about being on television. This is her favorite show. Well, I'm I'm trying to bring some of the flavors from my hometown, my home area, to this show. The flavors maybe that the judges had never seen before. So I've made some bake apple pie. Now, of course, bake apples are cloudberries to you UK people that are watching. So you might not know it, but bake apple pie. These were picked not far from my hometown of Dildo. These were picked from Blow Me Down, which has a wonderful.
I don't think you can say dildo on the Jolly
Oh.
Good Baking Show.
Well, okay, I'll avoid my town. This is from Blow Me Down, of course, which is not far from my town, and they're picked from there, and it's of glazed with molasses, of course, because gotta have that really thick, you know, tart flavor to have a little bit of sweetness, but not too sweet.
Miss
I've
Ryan,
also
Miss Ryan,
thrown
it's okay. It's just act like I'm not here as he like puts the camera right in your face.
okay, and I've put some fatback scrunchions on there. They're of course from pork rinds. These are pork rinds from Woody's Point in Newfoundland as well. And yeah, so this is a baked apple pie with molasses and scrunchions, and it's one of my favorite recipes. It's really good. She's like sweating.
Yeah. Fabulous. Paul and Jane make their way over to your station, Rosemary. And Jane, she's wearing like this like really lovely, like kind of pink blazer with chunky jewelry and very neat little blonde bob. And she says, "All right then, Rosemary, what are you making for us today?"
Well, it seems that the rest of my competition, it seems to be overthinking things of when they think of Thanksgiving pies. I'm going with the classic pumpkin pie. It's one of my favorite pies out there. To make mine particular unique, I'm actually putting a lattice like top on. Well, top.
That is not traditional, is it? To put a lattice pie crust on top of a pumpkin pie. It's very unusual, she says to Paul. Paul says, "Yes, it is. Do you feel confident this is going to work, Rosemary?"
Yes, it adds a bit of texture where, like, I know for particularly young children, they don't care for pumpkin pie so much because it's just too squishy and like you can overbake it sometimes. But I find with the lattice top, you get that nice crispy texture. It's not too squishy and you don't overbake it.
Well, I just think that sounds lovely. I can't wait to get it in my mouth and swallow it down. And they go off. Meanwhile, time is ticking down. Timothy Bouche, one of the presenters, he's weirdly large, very like big man. He has a very broad sense of humor, a very kind of gothy style. He kind of famously doesn't know anything about baking, and he takes in every episode, he probably says at least 20 times he doesn't know anything about baking, so that you know he doesn't know anything about baking, and he makes little jokes about it. He doesn't know anything about baking because he doesn't in fact know anything about baking. He calls out, "Bakers, you have 30 minutes remaining in this round." He then pours a glass of water over his head and does a cartwheel for some reason. Meanwhile, Melanie is just getting her pie out of the oven. It's looking good. It's smelling good. It's all going pretty well. All great. Lamb, Scott, very organized, fond of bow ties. He's a bit of a twink. He is talking to the camera, about his process. He's like, "Well, now that my filling's done, I just have to blind bake the pie crust. It's very important to blind bake the pie crust so you don't have a soggy bottom, because believe you me, Paul likes a neat, firm, uncomplicated bottom." And he puts the pie into the oven with the little beads over it, the pie crust, to let it go. And things are progressing. How is pie going, Muriel? Are you happy with what you've produced?
Relatively. Muriel's been like struggling a little bit. I think I made a joke about this in our chat, but I think like just in the background at one point when they were interviewing Alice, she was just like, "They allow meat pies and no one told me." She's like, so she's kind of angry about that. But no, I think it's a very it is inspired by crackers I buy from Trader Joe's all the time. It's kind of like a bit of like this like fruity herbal spice blend that really just kind of like it's not the most autumn pie. It's more of a fig pie with blueberries added in, but the blueberries being out of season actually I think enhances the pie a little bit because they add a kind of like extra tartness that then meets with the kind of unctuousness of the figs, and then it's all like mellowed and blended with like this like rosemary thyme kind of spice herbal blend. It's a weirdly like sensory pie, but I think it does kind of complement itself.
Very good, very good. Doll, how's pie going?
I mean, it's fine, right? This is okay. We're okay. This is fine. It's cooking. It's baked. It's fine. Got a little sweat in it.
Timothy walks up to Doll and he says, "So you're from Canada?
Yes.
I heard that people in Canada get really scared when the lights go out."
Well, only because it's so dark all of the time, you know?
It's like, yeah.
I
I
mean,
like to
I'm not afraid of the dark. Thank
I like to
goodness.
sit in my room in the dark. Makes me feel centered.
Oh, is that why you're so pale?
Yeah, I suppose it is. Kind of like
I
your
think you
pie
should get a
crust
little.
here.
Oh, well, that's only because it's undercooked in that spot.
Indeed. Alice, how's this Wawa pie going?
Nobody told Alice that store-bought isn't fine, and so the pie is done. There was a store-bought rotisserie turkey. There was store-bought cranberry sauce, store-bought like a full thing, and it looks great. It looks fantastic. It's just like perfect, but like there's like no dirty dishes or anything like that. She notices everybody else freaking out, and she's just like, "What's I don't know what the deal is. Like this is just everybody stresses about Thanksgiving all the time. Mine's just easy, you know. Just get some Bob Evans potatoes, put them in the microwave. It's fine.
Is the running idea here that like she's like no one's noticed she's brought all of this stuff in?
Yeah. Everybody's just like going. She's just like grabbing from like paper bags and
I
just
think
like
I
plastic
think
bags.
one of the producer of the show, who is a Mr. Heath Hendricks, I think he like sees all of your like discarded like packaging and stuff, and he's like, "Get that out of there!" And like, and some production people come and like clean up all of your trash to like, and then they clean up all your trash, and then they like just set out some bowls and stuff, and like throw some flour and milk and shit in there, and they kind of slop it around to make it look like you made all this, and they're like, "There we go. All right."
Alice is like, oh geez, you didn't have to do all that. I was going to take it out on my way out. Oh, you're so polite. Thank you. Why you throw that flour
They're
around?
like throwing flour on you. They're like,
Yeah,
they're like tossing it on
stop.
you.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I get it. It's fun. All right, yeah, we're having fun here. Let's make a TV show.
Fabulous. Rosemary, how's pie going?
It's hard to mess up pumpkin pie. It's like pumpkin spice, sugar. Like it's not.
The presenter, Sue Mellon, she comes over to you and she smells it as it comes out of the oven. And she's like, "Oh, that smells pumptastic."
Mm. These British shows, they all have a way with words, don't they?
"Bakers," she calls out, "let us be a warning to you. You have 5 minutes left." And you're now in the final stretch. The round eventually, in the edited version, they start playing the bum 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 bum, the hurried like final music. And even though you're all just working at a leisurely pace, they make it look like you're super freaking out and moving around, and everyone just happens to finish in the last second. Dun dun dun, and now it's time for the judging. Now, you're each going to judge each other's pies at this point to determine whether the pie is, let's see here. So what we're going to do, I'm going to ask one player to judge another player's pie, or one player to judge another Maven's pie. and you have to say whether the pie is a triumph or rather disappointing. Does anyone have baking as a cozy activity?
The closest that I bake pottery.
Not good enough. A triumph or rather disappointing. And then after the judgment is rendered, the other players have to offer a detail, and myself, we have to offer a detail about why the pie was triumph or rather disappointing. Now, go first to Muriel. And Jane Leaf says, all right then, Muriel, tell us what you've made.
I've prepared for you a delectable fig pie, which I've interspersed with some notably out of season blueberries for tartness and also a little bit of added texture. And I've also added, she's like covered in flour, and is like basically like, it looks like a butcher, but like it's just like, you know, the apron just spattered, hand on her hip. She says, and I've added a blend of herbs as well, and notably thyme, some rosemary in there as well, to bring a bit of a kind of spiced fig pie with an added tartness and a golden brown pastry pie crust. You might notice that the pie crust is similar to that you'd get on a meat pie. I admit I do not know how to make adequate pie crusts for things that do not contain meat.
And Paul says, is this a Scottish pie?
No. The crust is, the filling is something I thought of the other night.
So you've never practiced this then?
No, I decided, well, I thought that it would be a little bit, you know, stereotypical for the Scotswoman to make a Scotch pie. So I decided to go out of my comfort zone a little bit and prepare something that would surprise everybody.
Alice, or Wes, is the pie a triumph or rather disappointing?
I think we sit and we wait and we look at Paul Revere's face for a long time. Cuts back to the pie, cuts to Paul Revere's face, cuts to Muriel, cuts to the pie, Muriel, Paul Revere's face. You know how they do it in you know how they do it on the TV. And he says, offers a handshake.
Paul Revere gives the classic Paul Revere shoulder rub. That's what.
Yeah, gives a bit of a shoulder.
He
rub
walks around and gives you a shoulder
fantastic.
rub. Yeah.
Gives you a little shoulder rub. It says it's fantastic, and then gives a bit of the Paul Revere standard shoulder rub.
And everyone's like, oh. Doll, you're a fan of the show. The shoulder rub's a big deal.
I'm wildly cheering for my friend. I'm so ecstatic for her to get that shoulder rub, and I'm a little jealous, and I hope I get the same.
It cuts to a confessional with Muriel, and she says, I didn't know why people were applauding for a brief massage. It was nice, but I hope they liked my pie.
Well, the pie was a triumph. Myself and Amanda and Chaotic get to say why exactly the pie was a triumph. And I'm going to say it was a triumph because, well, I don't know that it's so much that it's not so much that the pie in and of itself was a triumph. I think it was more, from Paul's point of view, it was a daring thing to do a hot water crust on a pie like this, and it turned out okay. And so you got extra points for that. He liked this like interesting choice.
I think it was also the tremendous amount of scotch in the pie that really warms you up, you know? Makes you feel pretty good.
The combination of blueberry and fig provide enough of a like sweet taste, which it could have been a very savory pie. So
Indeed. Jane and Paul make their way over to you, Doll. Paul says, all right then, Doll, what have you made for us?
I made a recipe from my hometown of a town in Newfoundland, just north of Broad Cove.
Oh,
and-
dildo.
Oh, yes, okay, I can say it. I said it so many times earlier, and I wasn't sure if I'd be allowed to say dildo. Yes, this is a dildo.
I love dildo.
I love dildo too. I love that we have this in common. I can't believe you've had the dildo experience.
He's like,
It's wonderful,
I
isn't it?
love dildo. Dildo lives in my heart. You might say dildo's always inside me.
Always, and me too. You know, you can take the girl out of dildo, but you can never take the dildo out of the girl. So I made, of course, a very traditional dildo pie. In this case, it's baked apples glazed with molasses and scrunchions. So the fried pork fat is really the kicker here. That's really the dildo specialty.
Heath Hendricks is like, they keep saying dildo. They can't say that. And, well, Muriel, was the pie a triumph or rather disappointing?
May
Mm.
I add before you're judging that
Mhm.
Doll has taken one of those little like butane torches that you use for creme brulee and
Mhm.
just browned up that pale spot that Timothy had pointed out.
Mhm.
It's very noticeable that
Mhm.
that's what she's done, but I just wanted to point that out.
What is her name? Jane Leaf? Yeah, Jane Leaf. We see Jane Leaf and Paul go for the with their forks. They cut into it, and it kind of like shows, zoom in on the filling where it's just like, kind of like it oozes a little bit, and they're just like, nodding, take their forks, put it in their mouth. Because there's that kind of like close up on Paul where he just kind of goes.
Doll's leaning her shoulders in, like in hope.
Jane Leaf is just taking the daintiest little bites of pie and just kind of like, and then there's like, long drawn out pause. And then she says, no, it's, I think it's a nice pie, but it is rather disappointing.
Oh, poor doll. Jane says, I could continue on. She says, dear, it's not that your pie was completely disgusting. It's just that it didn't taste very good, you see. The texture was existent, but perhaps not something one would want to normally put in their mouth.
Do you think it's because of all of the briny seawater I added?
That might have something to do with it. Indeed. One of the details, you said there was pork rinds in it?
Yeah, I said it's glazed with molasses and scrunchions, which are like fried pork fat.
Wait.
Like
So,
little pieces of fried pork fat that they're hard and you like.
oh,
They're like
sounds horrible.
they're pork rinds that are kind of like croutons.
Oh, I see. Oh, got it. Okay, I think I think the problem is you accidentally bought like barbecue flavor, and
Yeah.
so it just threw the flavor off. Wes and Chaotic, why was it so bad?
A detail from earlier. There's a taste that no one quite can place. This is a very, very salty pie, but like some of it just sticks to the edge of your mouth and it's like actual sweat.
This poor tragic pie.
Paul looks not I guess just not like it tastes awful, but unimpressed. And he goes, expecting a lovely lady from Dildo like yourself, I really felt like this would make me march with the penguins. But it was fine. It was just fine.
Meanwhile, the judges move over to Rosemary's pie. Pumpkin pie. Now, a pumpkin pie is a rather simple recipe, Rosemary. And so, of course, you have to get it absolutely spot on if you're doing something simpler. So let's see how you did. And they cut in. Amanda, how is the pumpkin pie?
It's really hard to mess up a pumpkin pie. And this one's a triumph.
Oh,
I love it. I think you have just the right balance of warm spices. And I think importantly, you might know, Rosemary, that Jane is particularly sensitive to mace and she doesn't like it that much. And so you took the mace out. And so that speaks to her.
I think it's really important to note that when making a pumpkin pie, oftentimes the top of the pumpkin in the pie part, the filling, since it is uncovered, will become cracked or a little bit too toasted, or will sometimes burn if you don't know what you're doing it. But it seems that your untraditional like lattice top has formed a protective barrier amongst the top of this pumpkin pie, in which the pumpkin pie filling is perfectly untouched across the top. But in a good way, not in a bad way.
A lattice pumpkin pie is so unusual, and I'm kind of loving it. I think it was also a triumph because the hand whipped cream, which is very hard to hand whip cream in a time effective manner, but the firmness of it, the structure, the texture, it does not collapse like Cool Whip. It does not just sadly deflate into a mess of sweet cream. There are these delightfully, almost artistic, central kind of dollop that sits in the center of the lattice work, which when it is scooped upon a spoon, it looks just like a cloud. It is, and it stands. It is fluffy. It is sweet, and it is just so good on television.
Fantastic. Yeah, Buck is right there, getting it right. Scott Lamb's pie is a triumph. He made a classic Dutch apple pie, and he gets a shoulder rub as well. And the shoulder rub lasts a long, long time. It gets a little awkward. Like there's a clap, like, oh, everyone's clapping, like, yay.
That must have been a really great pie.
And it's like still going. The shoulder rub is still going. And Heath and Buck and Jane Leaf and the two presenters are all kind of looking at each other like a little like awkwardly while the shoulder rub is still going. And still Heath is like, and then when it's all said and done, Paul leans in and whispers something into Scott's ear. And then they move on.
I like the idea that it's like it very briefly turns into the fucking pottery scene from Ghost.
Yeah, exactly,
like,
right. Yeah, yeah. They go over to Alice. Now then, Alice, are we going to go gaga for your wah-wah?
That's one way to put it there, Chief. What you got here is you got yourself a gobbler pie. It's my homemade, world-famous gobbler pie. As you can tell, I got the turkey and the green beans and the gravy and the potatoes all inside, almost like a shepherd's pie type of deal, but it's with the turkey, so it's a gobbler pie. And that took me about, like 5-10 minutes there. Had the crust on top, everything, and the cranberry slices. I got the little the coins, cranberry sauce coins across the top of it, arranged thusly, so it looks a bit like that. It probably tastes good. I had about 25 minutes left over, so I decided to take all of the producers' hands and all my own contestants' hands here, and I made what's Thanksgiving without a little bit of turkey? And so I have all these cut out turkeys, right? And you can see that she's got like the paper, the construction paper turkeys with like the painted on eyes, and then she just holds up to Paul's face and she goes, gobble gobble, gobble gobble. See, now you got your own little turkey there, Paul.
Paul does a sort of like bemused smile, never breaks eye contact with his steely blue eyes. Jane Leaf is looking at the turkey, and she's like, it's informal, isn't it? In construction, but rustic, appropriate for the season, I think. And they eat your pie. Chaotic, is it a triumph or is it rather disappointing?
I think between like them trying the pie, like the camera cuts a bit, and like the producer goes over to like the judges to say, we cannot have Alice proceed on to the next round, and so it's a disappointment.
Oh, do they like go and tell the judges that it was all store-bought goods?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good.
We cannot have this woman.
We can't air this.
It's like also because you've said the brand name Wawa like 100 times at this point. Like I don't think
They're not sponsored.
It's just
by
it's
Wawa.
just in the background. We just see Heath just vehemently talking to Paul, just being like, dildo, Wawa, store bought. This cannot air.
Just
They're
too
gonna
familiar with
edit out
everybody
Alice
too.
altogether.
Making little Thanksgiving hand turkeys and putting them against their face and everything. It's like you're supposed to have a fearful respect of
Fantastic. Yeah, so Amanda and Alex, why was it disappointing? Apart from the fact that it was all store-bought stuff.
I actually think it tastes amazing. Like, it's somehow a perfect rendition of like a turkey pot pie, the best turkey pot pie anyone's ever had. It's just made from store-bought ingredients, and that's the disappointing part.
Yeah, that's my thing, I think, is that this is a grave insult, I'm sure, to Wes in particular, is that Alice cut into the pie too early and didn't let it the everything sit in place properly. So it is just like oozing and like all the like liquid is just like, it's like when it is a full soggy bottom.
It tastes fucking fantastic.
It's great.
But it looks atrocious.
Yeah.
It looks like a toxic waste.
You know when you like put like soup, like stew overnight in the fridge,
Yeah.
and it's like it develops like the fat like solidifies into a layer on top of it, and like it functionally tastes great, but it's like eating like gelatinized fat, and yeah.
And I mean, infamously, I love stew, so I don't mind a soggy bottom on my pie as long as it tastes great. So
Yeah, I've never
what's
been
happening
never been a big deal to me either. Like I don't understand why people get so upset about that, because I like the filling more anyway than the crust.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And it's like, yeah, it's actually it's a good pie, a little soggy, but we cut.
Melanie, they go to Melanie's pie. She's making a pecan pie, and basically when they get there, she's just like profusely apologizing the whole time. She's like, the crust is underbaked. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't get that glaze on the pecans quite like I wanted. I know it. The custard's way too sweet. I know it. I know it's too sweet. It was all just it's a mess. I'm so sorry. And then Paul's like, I love it. Mary's like, I want this recipe. This is the most delicious pie I've had all month. And Melanie's like, she cried, she breaks down in tears, and then Timothy and Sue go and there, that a girl, see, it's all right. And everyone's celebrating Melanie and her amazing pie that she thought was terrible. Scott rolls his eyes. And that concludes the pie round. There is a break in filming. Everybody. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, please.
Well, I was just gonna say, everyone but the six of you, the two hosts, the two judges, Heath, Buck, and Paul's wife, who's also hanging around set. Everybody else goes like to Brindlewood Bay to get lunch or to do whatever they're going to do during the break. Those are the people who hang back. What are you all doing while you're on break?
I think I'm kind of a little bit creeping the Stars trailers. Like, I'm a big fan of the presenters. I'm a big fan of the judges. So yeah, I think I'm kind of like trying to get autographs, but in a chill way. It's not chill at all. There's no chill going on here, but I think Doll's trying to be chill.
Jane says, "Dear, I hope you don't feel bad about how we received your pie."
Well, I mean, I've always been told my pie is delicious, but
Well,
I mean, it's been a
unfortunately,
while.
this time it was quite revolting. But you shouldn't let that disturb you or worry you. Just keep at it, With lots and lots and lots and lots of practice, you'll get better.
Well, I suppose I should have. One of the other pies that's very famous in Dildo is the cream pie, and I think I should have went with that, but I wanted to try something, a little more tart, a little more interesting.
Yes,
You're pushing
yes.
your luck, Amanda.
Muriel, what are you doing on break?
Muriel she's still using the kitchen. Like, she's treating it casually like it's a kitchen that she can just use freely. She walks over to the counter and she's just pulling out like herbs and spices, and she's just like quickly throwing together like like boils some water and just is preparing like a decoction. It's like it settles the stomach. It's kind of like one of those like, soothing kind of herbal remedies. I'm using Cadfell to add this to my inventory, but she does give a cup to Doll, who seems to be paralyzed from this whole experience. And happily giving that to her to help give her a pat.
Fantastic. Alice, what are you doing on the break?
Oh, since just been told by the producers that I'm just like too much of a dynamite on-screen presence for this program, they might reach out for something else, which I understand. I get that all the time. Alice gets that all the time. Just too much Alice. Alice is wandering around like the production side of things because got pulled over to talk to a producer, and so it's like looking at the cameras and like talking to the tech people, the gaffers and the lighters and everything like that, being like, oh no. Photography, I have a photographer showing off the same kind of like equipment and everything like that. Oh, you ever need somebody to film like some of the for a recipe book or something? Hit me up. I'm your gal.
I love it. Rosemary, what are you doing on the break?
I'm eating my lunch, like as like most people should be doing before break. You shouldn't like bake while hungry, because then you add your own personal preferences instead of going with the plan. So I'm just eating like a ham and cheese sandwich.
Eventually, once you're all back together, Buck the cameraman comes into the little tent where you're all kind of hanging out, and he's like, they found him. He's dead.
God fucking damn it. How many murders do we have to be involved in?
Well, we
Nobody
can
call
involve-
the sheriff.
Yeah, don't call Sheriff Dalrymple.
What's going on?
He's not good. He's not a good person.
He's like, well, I can't control what Mr. Hendricks is going to do. I'm not even part of the regular production crew. I'm just a local.
Buck, what happened? Who's dead? Who did you find?
And you can go, he'll take you over to Paul Riviera's trailer, where Heath Hendricks and Donna Riviera and Jane Leaf and Sue and Timothy, they're all there. And Heath and the other two contestants as well. Heath is like, I can't believe it. He's dead. And if you go inside the trailer, you will see the Paul Riviera is on his hands and knees, or on his knees, his face covered with flour, his hands tied behind his back with beautifully plaited nylon cords, slumped over, quite dead. And I think,
Oh no!
you'll never get that shoulder rub now, doll. And we'll just wrap up there today. let's go ahead and do stars and wishes for the session. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
Alice knows you never want to be found face down, ass up, with flour in your face on the television set. That's the worst place to be found. No, stars. Of course, stars to everybody. Fantastic descriptions of baked goods. Also, star to Jason for freewheeling, getting Alice into back into the narrative after getting Alice back. It was seamless. It worked perfectly. I was hooked from the moment I stepped into the Zoom call. Feelings. Oh, I'm excited. I think I know exactly who I'm going to use my Clarice Starling move on now too. It's a perfect time too. After everything that happened with the last mystery, I think it's time to bring in the consultant. So I'm excited. I'm feeling great. I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, I have lots of stars. The whole Alice versus Dalrymple thing was awesome. I love Alice so much. It was just a wonderful little, showdown of wits. And I thought, yeah, it was really great. Big stars to Wes and Jason for that. It was wonderful to watch. Chaotic. I really loved Rosemary's vignette of all the blinds down and peeking out and tracking people watching. It was so paranoid and really sad, because Rosemary is so serious. But seeing that descent into that paranoia, it was really touching in a sad way. And she's so logical. I really love the moment when you mentioned that she was having a sandwich on her break, because obviously you need to have a sandwich on your break if you're going to be cooking. So like it just was like, yeah, duh. Why would you do anything else when you're on a TV set? And I thought it was brilliant. I really loved Muriel's speech at the end of All Hallows Scream. It was very Braveheart. It was really channeling that energy, and it made me feel like, yes, we're gonna get them. So you've definitely inspired me, Alex. I thank you for putting up with all of my dildo. This one was a little much.
That is actually going to be my star. I'll get to that, but
My wishes. I love this mystery. I'm really excited to see how Corinne Waitley is going to show up and mess everything up. This is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to next week.
yeah, no, I do absolutely have to star the plethora of dildo humor this episode within like a 15-minute time span alone. That was great. And the fact
it's
that
super Bake Off, right?
It's
like,
super Bake Off.
Yeah, it's so Bake Off. Like Bake Off, they just do dick jokes nonstop on Bake Off.
Constantly.
Right? Like, yeah.
Constantly. Like, and the fact that star to Amanda and star to Jason for also the way that you just begin to back and forth that there is no such thing as a too far dildo joke. When it comes to talking about your homeland. Yeah, so absolutely star there. I got a star. I loved Alice's interaction with Isaiah Langmore at the start there. And just the fact that you are just so gung-ho, like I show up at a party like fucking I'm ready to fight. Like that was really great, Wes. Yeah, I second the star about everyone's pie descriptions were really great. I feel so bad about making dolls rather disappointing, but it felt the best to do that. No, and star to Chaotic, you've made me actually hungry thinking about pumpkin pie right now. There's just something, hey, just good simple pumpkin pie. Star to Wes again for the store-bought recipe. If we hadn't said that, like, the producers revealed that it was store-bought, my detail was going to be that it was rather disappointing because you pulled out the store receipt and started to explain what you bought for it on camera.
So go into the details.
Go into the details. But no, just the store-bought thing was it was out of left field. Oh god, I was crying this episode so much. So everyone was just killing it. My wish for sure is to see more of, I think, like, oh, actually I know Jason mentioned this over the break, but my wish is I can't wait for us to get to our first sweepstakes mystery. I know it's going to be a while, but I'm looking forward to that for sure. I'm also really excited to see that Clary Starling move and play. That's going to be fun. And what else? I had something else. Oh, we have so many dark conspirators now. Like, we have so many people on the list, and I'm excited to see how they keep entering the narrative and like how we kind of unveil like how this conspiracy came together, because it seems like there's like the old guard, like the old blood of Brindlewood Bay, but then there's also Corinne Waitley, a new figure really, who's kind of like unifying them as a cult. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of going with like this idea of, because the Corinne's the Ninth Steps whole thing in this iteration anyway is like sort of uniformity, right? And like and conformity. And I kind of like the idea of like conformity playing with this idea of like old Brindlewood Bay and like homogeneity and like just being, like not rocking the boat, so that there's some interesting energies there to explore, I think. So star for me, I really enjoyed I actually quite liked the Theorize on A Hall of Scream, the second one. It was pretty out there, but with adding the extra context, it was really fun, and we had to add a lot of context to get there. But I thought it was enjoyable, and I think that's the point of this. Like, it's just to come up with something cool and a cool story, and so I was really happy with that. I liked. It's always fun when like a character makes a big like heel turn, and certainly, Sheriff Dalrymple did. That was great fun. I really enjoyed the pie round. I let it go long. I played that a lot longer than I normally do. Usually we kind of just go straight to judging the pies. We don't really spend a lot of time on it, but I actually really enjoyed like kind of taking some time to, just kind of show the characters a little bit and to just have some fun with this part of it. So that was really, really enjoyable. As a wish, I'm also very interested to see the consultant. And I am very interested to see what cakes you all are going to make in the cake round. So yeah.
The show must go on, I guess.
Indeed it does, yes. Yeah.
I did want to throw in one quick extra star that I was meant to say was in my notes. The heel turn for Dalrymple, that was such a betrayal. What a horrible betrayal. I love it. I love it. It never occurred to me that Dalrymple would be part of the conspiracy. So
I've
I don't know
never
why.
had,
It was
had
awesome.
Dalrymple.
Never.
Dalrymple has been like a romantic option before,
Same.
and
I hated it, but yeah.
yeah, and but always like the Barney Fife type, and to see
Yeah.
like that little bit of menace, I was like, oh.
Well, if you recall, for folks who are here, last week we learned that Wyman Dalrymple burned down the commune back in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
Like he led the march on that commune.
Yeah.
When they thought that the commune kidnapped a boy, which we
Yeah.
don't know if that was true or not, but yeah.
I really did enjoy with Dalrymple. Like, he is such a buffoon, so it's really cool getting to see him actually be kind of like an actual like force against us, because like in so many games of Brindlewood Bay, especially ones that I've run, it's like he's the butt of the joke, he is super incompetent, but now having him be this like actual opposing force for our investigation, and we actually have to take it seriously, I'm excited about that. Muriel's more mad that he stole from the plot of Clue and Hot Fuzz than anything else.
I gotta give a star to everyone's like interactions with Dalrymple. Like, it really showed like how everybody was super angry, but for different reasons. Like Rosemary's angry because like she knows like there's secrets being kept from her. Like, there's this big conspiracy like that's been kind of revealed, but we don't know everything to it yet. Muriel's mad because like he just quoted movies and whatnot, and Alice is mad because like there's this lack of justice. Like, it's just very fascinating, and I gotta give a star for Jason's void clue of like the little face. Like, oh god, that was horrifying.
Yeah, that one came from the child of Persephone that I'm using, not from the mystery. So yeah. Also, I want to throw out as well a star. I actually really liked that you all sort of like you played it like you were really powerless in the moment when Dalrymple was like, sorry, no crime here, like that was really interesting. Like, I think there's a version of that where you all could have like struggled more, but there was something about like just accepting it and biding your time for later, which I thought was really interesting. And because you were all very outnumbered, and so yeah, that was just an interesting dynamic. It was dark, and I really liked it.
Mhm.
I thought it was definitely a good moment, like just because it really dipped into like kind of the elements of Brindlewood Bay that are coming more to the forefront. I did think about it. I did think about start swinging, but honestly, it just felt right in that moment of like let's take the L that also counts as a W. Like, what is happening here?
Mhm.
Oh, do we need to do end of session questions?
Oh yeah, we did not do an obsession, did we? Let's do it now. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah. Okay, did you solve the mystery? Yes, you did. So everybody gets credit for that one. Rosemary, did you secretly undermine the authority of a local official?
We pranked Dalrymple.
Oh,
at
that's
the
right.
end.
You did. Yeah.
Um,
Did you behave like a woman half your age?
I'm not sure if the pranking of Dalrymple will
Oh,
also
I'll
count.
take it because you're like a kid. That's like a kid thing to do. It's more like, acting 1/5 your age, but that's okay. Let's go to Doll. Did you dote on someone, Doll?
I don't think I did.
Did you behave like a woman half your age?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
toilet paper.
The TP stuff, yeah. Muriel, did you behave like a woman half your age? I guess everybody's getting that one. Yeah.
I smashed up the pottery in defiance of Dalrymple.
Yeah. Did you dote on someone?
Twice. I doted both on Rosemary after the defeat at the Vidal Manor, and then I also made a decoction for
oh, that's right.
for
You
Doll.
did. Yeah. Alice, did you show someone that you've quote still got it? Probably Isaiah.
I whooped Isaiah Langmore's ass. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
And then secretly undermine the authority of a local official. Prank.
Yeah, with pranking Dalrymple. All right, good.
Oh, did we all advance?
I think
we all advanced.
That's awesome.
Advanced.
Yeah.
Cool.
You did. Okay, now the end of session is done.
One quick wish before we finish off. I
Yeah.
just thought of this. How that's going to affect the whole end of All Hallows Scream is going to affect Doll and June's relationship.
Yeah, that is interesting. That's an interesting question. I don't want to let that go either. I'd like for June to turn back up again. So yeah. That's interesting because it's not clear if June was in on the broader conspiracy. I don't think she was. She was there for the fake movie, but I don't think, which in context actually makes a lot of sense because last time we learned that June was super into filmmaking, right? We learned that last time. And today's theory actually really played into that little detail about June.
Yeah.
So that was really good. Any other stars or wishes? Okay. Well, in that case, let's wave goodbye to everybody watching the recording.